Hello again, my name is Crystal, and I'm here to do a book review. So, the book I want to talk about today is called Generation Friends, and it is a book that came out within the last few months, I believe back in September, and I just listened to the audiobook recently, and I really wanted to talk about it because I have no one to talk about this book with. By author Saul Austerlitz. I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name or anything at all. And it is about the television show Friends that was on in the 90s and ended in the early 2000s. It was on for 10 seasons. 10 seasons is a long time. And it goes sort of behind the scenes on how the show went from being just a creation between these two people and wound up being this show that kind of defined a decade of television and all these kinds of behind the scenes facts and how the actors got cast and how some of them weren't even originally going to be there. David Schwimmer originally was not even, I believe, cast as Ross. Just you find all these behind the scenes facts that I didn't know about. Like they told me when I was listening to the audiobook that Lisa Kudrow went to Vassar, and I thought that was really cool. And in fact, I didn't know. And then there are some things that maybe Friends fans already know that Jennifer Aniston originally wasn't even cast as Rachel. They wanted Courtney Cox, and then Courtney Cox actually wanted to be Monica, and then they cast Jennifer Aniston, I believe kind of at the last minute, and it was just this crazy interesting thing to listen to in audiobook form. I found this book to be very interesting. I'm a huge fan of the show, so if you are, I would definitely say check this out, maybe, at some point in time. I believe this book came out due to the fact that the pilot hit its 25-year mark this year, which is crazy to think. Friends, the pilot is turning 25 years old. Granted, I'm older than Friends itself. It started in 94, and that's crazy to me. I had to think for a second. I'm like, am I actually older? And I did the math. I am. I love Friends. Tons of people I know really do still like the show and watch it all the time. I just went through a huge binge watch on Netflix within the last, I want to say, year. But this book was just so intriguing of how the network didn't originally think the show was any good, and then when it tested horribly, and no one really liked it. All these kinds of producer people were sort of just like barging in and wanting to make all these decisions and saying you need to add more older people and not just this young cast of six nobodies, and no older person is going to relate to these people. The people making the show definitely stuck to their guns on those thoughts, and they didn't want random Joe Schmo the cop in Central Perk trying to like give the friends advice, and they stuck to stuff like that. And then there were certain things that they did in the show that nowadays they're like, oh, we could maybe go back. We probably wouldn't do that. The whole Ross having a monkey thing. I always thought that was weird. I remember going back years ago before Friends was on Netflix and checking out, and I was like, I forgot that that happened, or I forgot certain storylines or stuff in the first season that's maybe never referenced again, or the fact that, real life events that happen in New York weren't referenced on the show, but they were talked about beforehand and they decided not to touch upon them. Just the fact that the cast grew together as, six people who cared for each other and became friends in real life, that is very, very interesting. It wasn't just one person leading the show and then the five kind of followed. It was all of them went together to like get a pay raise at one point. It wasn't like the boys were paid higher than the girls or anything along those lines, which I always loved hearing about the cast. They got along in that sense too. This show made everyone love the fact that you could form kind of your own family in your 20s. That's one thing that this book reminds you about is when you're that age, as they were on the show, these people who are your best friends in the world, they become your family and you form your own family outside of the immediate family that you grew up with. And this book was just so interesting for me as a fan of Friends, the television show, for many, many, many years. I was very weird about the show when I was a lot younger because I was like, oh, it's a show, and I don't know, I don't really watch TV. This is like jaded, weird 12-year-old me. I was like, oh, I don't know, and then I started watching, and then I started binging. That was super fun. But what this book reminds you of is the fact that Friends has stayed a pop culture kind of statement all of these years, all this time it's been around for 25 years plus. The show is still kind of relevant in a way. It's just crazy to think that this show that started about, just six just close friends kind of took on a life of its own, and people around the world loved it and touched so many lives. The actors were changed forever because of it. I just found that to be very interesting, and all the behind the scenes stuff was so cool to learn more facts and things about Friends and how, at one point in time they thought of tearing the sets down, and now they're like in a studio tour for Warner Brothers. Friends became this thing and took on a life of its own, but to the writers and people who created it, it was just this crazy whirlwind experience that they didn't think was going to happen when they originally set out to do it. This audiobook was really, really cool and very fun. I was in need of something kind of different. I liked that part of it. I might actually pick up the physical copy. I would say if you're a fan of Friends and you like knowing behind the scenes facts like I do, so that was one thing that definitely drew me into this book, Generation Friends. I really like learning sort of behind the scenes stuff and how the show went about, casting people and the process of starting it from, where it started in the beginning to where everything ended at the end of the series, and how over 10 years things grew and changed and evolved, and how the show went from being this one thing to now all this time later we can all, enjoy it as, maybe it's your favorite show in the world and or you just love certain things about it. That's one thing I love about Friends. But yeah, this book was really fun. I really liked it. I think I gave it like 4 stars on Goodreads. I would definitely say the audiobook was very, very, very enjoyable. So if you like audiobooks like I do, I would say, check it out. If you got some free time, it definitely was a quick one to go through. It took me like a day and a half. I'm gonna wrap everything up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Crystal, and if you want to see more videos from me, you can definitely subscribe to my channel here. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon in a new video.